Are you ready to unlock the ancient wisdom of Stoicism and transform your life for the better? In this video, we're diving deep into the 5 tough truths you must accept to take control of your destiny. And trust us, they'll change the way you see the world. Lesson 1. Someone did something, and now they're living your dream. The life you once imagined is being lived by someone else. Perhaps they are operating the company you've always wanted to launch, visiting destinations you've only dreamed of, or pursuing a job you wish you had the guts to pursue. The fact that someone else took action and is now experiencing the life you could have had while you pondered, argued, or made excuses. Although this is a hard reality, Stoicism tells us that growth requires embracing difficult facts. We need to realize how important it is to act today rather than wallowing in the past. One basic point generally explains why someone else is frequently living your goal while you aren't. They took action while you didn't. While you might have hesitated, they committed to their goal and made that first step, a leap of faith. It's simple to persuade ourselves that we must wait for more information, funds, or time before we can start. However, Stoicism encourages us to concentrate on the things within our control, such as our current state of action. Fear of not succeeding, fear of being rejected, fear of the unknown, is a major deterrent to action. However, Stoicism gives a potent viewpoint on fear. Our interpretation of the events, not the events themselves, is what actually instills terror. The Stoics held that dread frequently stems from worst-case scenarios and imagined events that might never materialize. It's not objects that disturb men, but rather the perspective they have on them. Fear is frequently a creation of our imaginations rather than actual events. It is imperative to acknowledge that anxiety and doubt are inescapable when one is undertaking a significant endeavor. These are typical human feelings. However, Stoicism urges us to face such feelings head-on rather than letting them hold us back. We can start to view fear as something to be embraced rather than avoided by redefining it as a chance for personal development. Don't do or say anything that is wrong. Don't say anything that is untrue either. We may behave confidently even in the face of unknown outcomes when our actions are in line with our beliefs and purpose. Often, inaction causes more harm than failure. If nothing else, trying and failing can teach you invaluable lessons and provide you with experience and ideas that will help you develop. On the other hand, you only experience regret if you take no action at all. Furthermore, the Stoics understood that regret is a great load to bear. Failure after attempting is vastly preferable to living with the regret that you never even gave yourself an opportunity. Restrict yourself to the here and now. This implies that the only time we have to take action is right now, but it also doesn't mean we shouldn't have plans or goals. While you were possibly waiting for a future that hasn't yet arrived, the person who is fulfilling your dream made a decision in the here and now. The moment to act is now if you want to recover your dream and take charge of your life. Although it's easy to believe that someone else's achievement indicates your chance has passed, that is untrue. More than one person can live out their dreams. Action is the only thing separating you from the person who is pursuing your ambition. No matter how little the first step is, you can start today. Action is the antidote to regret, whether it is penning the first page of a novel, picking up the phone and speaking with a potential client, or taking up a new activity. One of the main principles of Stoicism is accepting responsibility for your life. While you have power over your actions, you have no influence over those of others. It isn't because they are superior to you or more fortunate than you if someone is leading the life you desire. It's as a result of their actions. This is a potent reminder of what is possible when you take ownership of your own aspirations rather than a cause for bitterness or jealousy. The Stoics remind us that time is of the essence and that life is fleeting. Someone took a chance and is now living your dream. However, you still have time to take action. You can have the life you desire, but only if you put an end to your inaction and take action. Accept the situation as it is, face your worries and act. Stoicism tells us that although we cannot change the past or the future, we do have complete power over the decisions we make in the here and now. Lesson 2. Goals, happiness, and motivation are all affected by instant gratification. Receiving something right away gives us a short-term high. It frequently results in long-term unhappiness and deprives us of the more profound sense of pleasure that comes from pursuing worthwhile objectives. Stoicism places a strong emphasis on discipline, self-control, and delaying gratification. It serves as a reminder that true happiness is not found in transient pleasures, but rather in persistently working toward our greater purpose. It is not that things are hard that we fear. Rather, it is that we fear that things are hard. This phrase captures the essence of the problem that leads so many of us to succumb to the lure of instant satisfaction. We look for ease and comfort because we are afraid of discomfort and difficulty. However, the Stoics remind us that anything valuable requires perseverance through hardship. In actuality, avoiding suffering is sometimes the very thing impeding our advancement. Since it instills in us the expectation of instant rewards, instant gratification reduces motivation. Our brain is conditioned to look for shortcuts when we consistently indulge in fast solutions, and as a result, we lose the endurance required for long-term objectives. Genuine drive originates from possessing a distinct objective and the self-control to work toward it, even in the face of unattainable gains. This suggests that rather than depriving ourselves of happiness or pleasure, we should be careful in the ways that we pursue it. The Stoics held that human flourishing can only be attained by virtue and living in balance with the natural world, not by luxury. Because instant pleasure perpetuates a cycle of desire and disappointment, it pushes us away from that equilibrium. We eat, we always want more, yet we never feel full. An alternate route that emphasizes moderation, self-control, and the search for long-term contentment is provided by Stoicism. The fact is that moments of indulgence don't lead to true contentment. It results from a persistent search for significance. It takes time and effort to develop relationships, advance one's job, and foster personal development. Lesson 3. Your life may change with the scariest decision you make. Everybody has to make a terrifying decision at some point. These decisions are frequently accompanied with dread, anxiety, and doubt, whether they involve moving to a new city, changing employment, or quitting a destructive relationship. However, the Stoics remind us that these very moments, when we are up against our worst fears, have the capacity to bring about the biggest changes in our lives. Action is aided by the obstacle to action. What obstructs the path eventually becomes it. One of the main principles of Stoicism is that challenges present chances for development rather than just something to be avoided. Often, the decisions that scare us the most are the ones that drive us to step outside of our comfort zones and face aspects of ourselves that we would prefer to avoid. However, it is by overcoming these anxieties that we become more powerful, robust, and capable of realizing our objectives. The most terrifying option is frequently not as difficult as it first appears when the illusions of fear are removed. In many cases, it is the only way to achieve full freedom and growth. Instead of clinging to the security of the known, we open ourselves up to new possibilities and experiences by accepting the discomfort of uncertainty and venturing into the unknown. Practicing fortitude, resilience, and wisdom in the face of adversity is what Stoicism instructs us to do. Remind yourself that growth doesn't occur in your comfort zone whenever you have to make a tough choice. Even if it could seem secure, taking the easiest route is rarely the best way to achieve your goals in life. If you have the confidence to make the toughest decision, it could change your life in ways you can't even imagine now. Lesson 4. Setting boundaries is hard, but using them is even harder. We have to face one of life's most difficult realities. Not everyone will value our time, effort, or limits. Setting limits might feel awkward, even selfish, in a society where we are always expected to give more. At work, in relationships, and in our personal lives. However, Stoicism tells us that in order to protect our mental health and make sure we are not taken advantage of, we must set and up clear boundaries. If a man is not his own master, he is not free. Being the master of oneself entails understanding your own boundaries and upholding them, especially in the face of difficulty. Setting boundaries is about defending the area that enables you to live in accordance with your principles, not about barring people from entering. Without boundaries, we lose focus on our own wants and objectives, and are more susceptible to the expectations and demands of others. Saying no can be difficult, particularly when we worry about upsetting other people or coming across as cruel. In actuality, however, we leave ourselves vulnerable to being used, depleted, and controlled when we don't establish boundaries. Stoicism teaches us that taking care of ourselves comes first, not in a self-serving manner, but rather in a way that recognizes our obligation to look out for our own welfare. Make friends with folks who will help you grow. Setting limits with those who deplete your energy or abuse your kindness is part of this. Establishing limits is a self-respecting exercise. We communicate to ourselves and to others that our time and energy are precious when we establish clear boundaries. We are stating that we deserve respect and that we will not put up with unfair treatment. This is difficult, particularly in a society that frequently encourages overwork and self-sacrifice. But Stoicism tells us that real strength comes from recognizing our own value and standing by it when others don't. While it may be difficult to set limits, it is much more difficult to live a life in which you are continually being used. Accepting this reality sets you free from other people's expectations and demands, enabling you to live a more genuine life that is consistent with your own ideals. Lesson 5. Put in 1 hour for yourself if you work 8 hours for others. We work long hours to do tasks that may not always be in accordance with our interests or personal ambitions, but we do them nonetheless in order to meet deadlines and fulfill commitments. But Stoic principles also serve as a potent reminder of this truth. If you are willing to work for others 8 hours a day, then you should also be willing to work for yourself for at least 1 hour. The pursuit of perfection, introspection, and personal development are all valued in Stoic philosophy. One of the most well-known Stoic thinkers, Marcus Aurelius, was also the Roman emperor. Despite his heavy duties, he made time every morning for introspection, writing, and contemplative contemplation. He realized that if he didn't first invest in himself, he would never be able to be a successful leader or even a happy person, regardless of how many people tried to get his attention. It's not necessary to make a large or intricate investment in oneself. It could be as easy as setting aside some time each day to practice mindfulness, exercise, read an inspirational book, work on a side project, or pursue your artistic interests. Whatever it is, it ought to be something that revitalizes you and moves you toward your ideal self. You should always make time for yourself. It's not a luxury. It's time to reevaluate your priorities if you find yourself continuously putting off your personal needs and goals due to other obligations. You are sowing the seeds of long-term growth when you set aside even 1 hour per day for yourself. The significance of living in the present moment was stressed by the Stoics because they were acutely aware of how fleeting life is. Don't put off improving yourself until the right moment or the right circumstances arise. Start now, whenever you have a moment to spare, and see how your modest actions add up to a major personal shift. Regaining control over your time and energy is another essential component of this reality. Because we overcommit to external duties while ignoring our own needs, a large number of us experience exhaustion. Stoicism teaches us to set boundaries that safeguard our well-being and to be aware of where we spend our energy. You are under no need to offer someone your time just because they ask for it. Learning to say no to things that don't align with your higher purpose is a crucial aspect of taking charge of your life. If a man is not his own master, he is not free. You are not really free if you are always letting other people decide how you want to spend your time. Being in charge of your life entails learning to govern your own timetable, priorities, and personal development. It entails realizing the worth of your time and that you should set aside some of it for personal development. You are sending a strong message that your own development is equally as vital as any external objective by taking back an hour of your day for yourself. You're admitting that life is more than just work and obligations. even though they are significant. You are a person with hopes, dreams, and potential who should be supported. You are not merely an employee or a supplier. Making time for oneself every day is a deliberate way of living. The Stoics were strong proponents of living intentionally as opposed to letting life's tides carry them along. Whether it be through introspection, education, or self-care, investing time in yourself means that you are actively molding your life rather than allowing it to happen to you. According to Stoicism, the decisions we make every day define the quality of our lives. You are taking charge of your own destiny when you decide to work for yourself, even if it's just for an hour a day. By making the decision to invest in the person you wish to become, you are building the groundwork for a happy, meaningful life that is consistent with your own values. It is not only advised but also necessary to work for yourself for 1 hour a day in accordance with the Stoic philosophy in order to lead a healthy, purposeful, and happy life. You have to put in a lot of effort not only for other people, but also for yourself. Making that 1 hour personal investment could be the difference between realizing your full potential and taking charge of your life. Although accepting these 5 hard facts won't be easy, doing so is essential if you want to take charge of your life. You may learn to face these realities with bravery, self-control, and wisdom by adopting the tenets of Stoicism. This will eventually result in a life that is more fulfilling, meaningful, and inner peaceful. Recall that you have the ability to change your life. All you need to do is take the initial step.